Welcome to today's webinar on high growth AI leaders spill their secrets to success, hosted by Sigma Computing. I'm Zalak Trivedi, the product manager here at Sigma. I've been at Sigma for about 2 years now, and I'm responsible for leading the vision and direction of our embedded analytics product. Today, we have an esteemed panel of experts from AI companies, each bringing a unique perspective on growth and success. So, without further ado, let me introduce our distinguished panelists. First up, we have Michael Ward, Senior Risk Data Analyst from Sardine, who brings a wealth of experience in leveraging data to drive strategic decision making. We have Damon Bryan, co-founder and CTO at HyperFinity, with deep insights into intersection of product development, technology, and analytics. And last but not the least, we have Stephen Hillian, SVP Data and AI at Astronomer. With an impressive background in leading data and AI initiatives, Stephen brings invaluable expertise to today's discussion. So I'm going to pass it on to our speakers to tell a little bit about themselves. Michael, we're going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and your company?
Sure. Yeah. Like Zalak said, it's my name is Michael Ward. I've been a software engineer for a little over 25 years. Currently a senior risk data analyst with Sardine AI and also the lead engineer for our subsidiary Sonar AI. Basically, our companies, we provide AI-driven platforms to detect and prevent fraud, money laundering, try to stop sophisticated scams. Our customers are banks, retailers, fintechs, crypto on-ramps. We have our own crypto on-ramp. We started in 2020. I joined about 2 years ago. And last year we were on LinkedIn's list for top 50 startups in the US. We've raised over 75 million in capital from some very large investors, such as Visa, Experian, Alloy Labs. Yeah, my focus is generally on the data science aspects, data analytics, machine learning.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Damon, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Damon Bryan, CTO and co-founder at HyperFinity. HyperFinity provide decision intelligence software to retailers, brands, and CPG companies. Our software utilizes AI and machine learning alongside BI and data visualization to provide a platform to optimize decisions across use cases such as product assortment, product pricing, and marketing and customer loyalty. We've been trading around about 4 or 5 years now, so we're kind of still in that startup stage, moving on to scale up now. We started life as a data science consultancy with aspirations to build our own technology, to the point now that we're a fully fledged software company with consultancy services still part of our offering. We've mainly bootstrapped the company to date. Luckily, being profitable from day one, we're able to pump back retain earnings into the business to help build our software product. Although 2 years ago, we received some seed funding from Snowflake to help us on our scaling journey. So we're big partners with Snowflake as well. And we're currently now actually looking at further funding to help us to take our company to the next level of growth.
Awesome. That is impressive background. And Stephen.
Yeah, hi, I'm Stephen Hillian. I'm at Astronomer. We are, I think of us as the data delivery company, or some people would say we're the Airflow company. Airflow was developed initially by Airbnb for managing complex data pipelines. They open sourced it. It's now one of the most successful open source projects in history. So the company has been growing very quickly around that community and around that framework. We've built a cloud platform for running Airflow at scale. My job is managing our data science team. So pretty much everything we do is built around Airflow as the basis for orchestrating our data pipelines, and Sigma as the way that we view that data. I get to see daily just how fast the company's growing, which is kind of fun.
That is amazing. Thank you all three for joining today's panel. Next up, we are going to briefly talk about Sigma for folks who don't know about Sigma. So let's just kind of jump into it right now. So Sigma is an intelligence platform that enables the user to analyze the information at a high level via dashboards and also get to the underlying data in a spreadsheet-like interface. So we have 5 important pillars of Sigma as a product. Number one is live cloud exploration. So we allow you to explore all of your data by connecting directly to the cloud data warehouse, Snowflake, Databricks, BigQuery, so on. This means that you're always querying on the latest data and looking at real-time insights. We have interactive intelligence. So Sigma uniquely allows users to incorporate their own data into the dashboards, so you can provide additional context to tell a complete story. Next up is closed loop execution. Like unlike traditional analytics and BI platforms where once you look at the insight, it really dies there, right? So Sigma actually lets you take an action on the insights that you see. Number four is augmented intelligence, and it will be remiss of us to say that we are not investing in AI, but we are. We've incorporated AI into the platform, allowing you to do natural language search, and we provide a very easy way to convert English into Sigma generated charts. And lastly, cloud scale and security. This is at the most important thing these days, security, right? That's where the trust comes from, and we inherit permissions and authentications from warehouses and provide additional access controls within Sigma to facilitate security. This was just a very high level overview of Sigma. And when you're talking about an embedded analytics product, all of this power of Sigma can be brought in to the application that you're embedding Sigma into. All right. So at this point, I'm just going to stop sharing and we are going to move on to the fireside chat, which most of you are here for. All right. Let's go into the first question. Michael, I'm going to start with you on this one. So let's talk a little bit about how did you help build a successful AI company, and how long did it take for your AI business to launch, and how did Sigma help support all of that?
Right. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, we started in 2020. I joined about 2 years ago, but Sardine was developed in order to help fight fraud. Fraud is obviously a huge growing problem across every individual and company, and fraud is basically a data problem, right? Many losses could be avoided with the right data,
Right.
but finding the right data when you need it, when you're dealing with lots of different siloed data providers, applications, etc., can be really difficult. You don't have time to sift through all that through many dashboards when fraudsters are attacking your system. You need all your tools working together in one place, and so we capture all the most relevant signals. We have the highest performing data providers, and we apply cutting edge machine learning to try to make it easy to understand the risk behind every login, sign up, transaction. And Sigma helps us do that. It gives us a competitive edge when providing our customers, our analysts, our operators with that critical information to fight fraud in a really quick, efficient, easy to use format.
Very cool. Damon, I'll pass it on to you for the same question.
Okay, so we knew what kind of technology we wanted to build from day one of the inception of the company, really. And my role as CTO was to head up the design and build of that product, bringing in to account a lot of my experience from previous roles. I used to work a lot in data science and AI, in analytical roles and commercial roles. Wanted to understand the implementation of those kind of techniques within retail optimization in particular. So luckily, I mentioned before, we were revenue generating from day one, really, through our consultancy offering. So that enabled me and my team to focus on building a great product without the financial pressures of
Right.
figuring out how to fund it. It gave us room to breathe and allowed us not to rush a product to market, but to think about what kind of product would impact the market in the best way possible. And advancements in AI and technology in the years since we started the company have only made the product journey more impactful and actually easier to build a product. So Sigma have been a big part of our product development in the last couple of years. We've built lots of cool AI and ML tools in our app, but because our app is completely no code, data visualization is such a massive part of bringing some of the outputs that you can create in our platform to life. We also wanted to build a measurement element within our platform so that our customers can actually measure the impact of the decisions that they're creating using some of the tools within our platform. And obviously that requires BI to be able to do that. So we were kind of smart about it. We thought, why try and reinvent the wheel when it comes to BI? Every company wants different BI too in terms of the reporting that they want to show off the back of the AI and the solutions that you're enabling them with. So we wanted to bring in a BI solution, and a software partner that can provide us with that embeddable, fully customizable BI solution for our customers to build whatever they wanted from scratch. It's brought a completely new element to our product that we didn't have before.
That's pretty impressive. And Stephen, over to you.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the companies, at least originally, was sort of really built upon the success of Airflow, and that was already widely used for data engineering, but increasingly also for sort of managing machine learning pipelines, and really as a sort of MLOps framework. It took us a little while to sort of converge on exactly the right form factor for the platform, which is really a hosted model, providing sort of a hosted framework for managing a number of Airflow deployments all integrated together, sort of a multi-tenant model for you to have many teams working with Airflow with observability across all of them. So eventually we resolved to focus on a hosted model. It was super easy to get started, but with sort of scalability and observability controls that allows you to scale to much larger teams. And AI has really sort of grown along with that community, and as the usage of Airflow has matured over time. One way that Sigma has helped with this is that we get to see, of course, through our Sigma dashboards, what it is that people want to use within the platform, what are they searching for on our website and in our open source libraries, and what are they actually using within within the Airflow environment, and what are they building custom, and so we can use that to provide feedback loops for our product team. And what we were noticing is a real outgrowth. Something like 30% of the teams using Airflow were using it for machine learning and AI. And so we built integrations into cloud frameworks for machine learning, integrations into large language model services, integrations into vector databases, and so on. So Sigma was really useful for that sort of observability piece, as well as also monitoring of our own AI initiatives. So we've got sort of chat controls and cost controls where we use AI internally for empowering those, and Sigma helps us to manage those and just make sure they're functioning properly.
That is super impressive. What were the outcomes you were able to generate as a result? Like, was it around revenue, competitive edge, cost savings? Damon, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, so I guess Sigma has helped us in two key ways, really. So I think firstly, definitely from a cost saving point of view, we've saved a huge amount of development resource needed to create this kind of thing in-house. You know, a kind of fully functioning customizable BI tool would have taken us a long time and a lot of resource to build ourselves.
Yep.
But secondly, and crucially, really, it's helped us create a new revenue stream by being able to offer this completely configurable BI platform and measurement as part of our product offering. It gives us new scope to be able to, make a big impact with our product and provide further revenue channels.
Awesome. How about you, Stephen? How has Sigma kind of impacted you?
Certainly new revenue channels from bringing on these machine learning workloads. I mean, obviously there's a lot of work to be done around just pure data engineering, but if we can expand the scope of that downstream into the machine learning world, again, with that large number of teams who are doing that, it helps to expand the footprint. But cost controls are a big deal as well. One sort of fun example is that we've actually built internal monitoring that use anomaly detection models that we run constantly on our own usage of frameworks, cloud platforms, Snowflake, for example. And then we'll actually identify when our costs are going way up, and then we can sort of rein that in by improving our queries or modifying our workloads or running things less frequently and so on. So Sigma is really important for us to manage those costs and provide visibility into that.
That's pretty impressive. And Michael, how has the fraud world changed with Sigma's?
Yeah, I definitely have to echo the cost savings from a number of angles. One, certainly, we save on development efforts, right? Where we don't need to, build, use code to build dashboards and visualizations for our internal and external customers. Sigma is so easy to use, right? We don't even need a lot of support from our data analytics team. If you know how to use spreadsheets and charts and so forth,
Right.
you know, we can expand that through our, you know, entire company. People don't have to come to data analytics team and ask for information. They can go in, they can get it. And certainly it helps us also identify cost savings opportunities. I think over the last month, we went through a little cost savings drill, and through Sigma, I was able to do some analysis and save us $120,000 a year in costs. So, and that was just my piece. There were other people doing other analysis that were able to save more money. So I think cost savings, and certainly it does give us a competitive edge where it's so easy to use. We're able to focus our development efforts elsewhere with our resources. So.
Very cool. And I'm assuming security is also paramount for you, right? Being in the fraud space. Has working with Sigma been very simple, and are you able to adopt some of the security measures from the cloud data warehouse?
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I think everybody's view security is paramount. You know, I think being able to utilize the embedded dashboards and be able to expose information to our customers through our own app and not have to send them to some separate cloud website that they needed to go to in order to view their analytics has been critical, and it's easy to have that secured right into our own dashboards.
Awesome. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about AI industry in general and how. Can you share examples of how some of the AI-driven innovations have helped your company stay competitive? Stephen, we'll start with you for this one.
Yeah, I've already mentioned a couple of examples where we're doing things like anomaly detection.
Right.
We've, of course, like everybody else, built some sort of conversational agent for people to be able to ask questions about Astro and Airflow, and that's been really good. And we get hundreds of requests a day, and of course, we monitor that with Sigma to make sure that that's doing the right thing. I think one of the most fun projects that we've been working on is started out as a hackathon. And we said, hey, look, large language models are really good at summarization. When a pipeline fails on Airflow in our platform, we should be able to read what's happening in the log and summarize that for end users and provide them with information about that. And potentially even get to the point where we can map that to known outcomes, learning from what we've done in the past, and actually have pipelines that heal themselves. DAGs, heal yourself, is sort of grail for us. But just being able to summarize that log information is really important. So that's the type of innovation that we can do internally with a very natural use case for large language models that really helps our end users save time.
Very cool. Yeah, anomaly detection is going to be very crucial, and at some point it will become kind of the foundational of some of the businesses as they kind of grow. So pretty impressive. Michael, over to you.
Yeah, so with fraud prevention, I mean, AI is core to our business. For every transaction that we process, we generate thousands of features, including device intelligence, behavior biometrics, identity signals, historical aggregations, network graphs. All this information, is there for every transaction. So, in order to really pull that all together, I mean, you need AI to help you try to cull out the very small percentage of fraud that comes across all these transactions, but is still so impactful. So, I mean, we build machine learning models to evaluate all these signals and provide a real-time risk score back to our customers. But then through Sigma, they can really dig in and they can see, what are the top features across our transactions that are identifying fraud for us, that we can tune our models better. We can put in rules into our rules engine in order to enhance our models. So I think we also do the anomaly detection as well. I mean, that's core to fraud as well.
Yeah,
And we're able to expose those different anomalies that are happening individually to each client.
that's awesome. Damon?
Yeah, so AI really is at the heart of every part of our product. But I guess what we'd call traditional AI or machine learning techniques, driving things like predictive modeling, clustering, and optimization within the platform. However, I guess the explosion of LLMs and generative AI are also starting to have a real impact in what we do. So things like conversational querying can help provide a much needed competitive edge when it comes to BI in particular.
Hmm.
If users can get answers quicker than having to slice and dice 1,000 tables or charts, then there's huge benefits, especially if you're kind of dealing with, key decision makers within like huge retailers. They want, insight quickly. They want to be able to get to that insight really, really quickly.
Right.
As I mentioned, the speed to insight really is key in the retail industry in particular, and Gen AI is really helping with that.
Hmm.
Um, Aside from this sort of stuff, we're starting to integrate things like computer vision into our platform for image segmentation and image description and feature engineering from images. It helps to speed up things like building product attributes and features against products. Helps to really automate those kind of tasks. We're also bringing in LLMs into a lot of other aspects of our platform
Hmm.
to help users interact with data and insight in a much more conversational way, as I've already mentioned. Essentially, if it makes our platform easier to use and the UX better, then we'll look at implementing it.
Makes sense. Some of our customers are also doing anomaly detection, but what they found is, well, they found the anomaly, but sometimes they are not able to find the root cause of the anomaly. And at Sigma, we have input tables, and potentially in the future, like once you've detected the anomaly, there could be a human readable, or like a human can go in and say, okay, this is actually the cause of this anomaly, which can be actually fed back to the models
Yeah.
for future, where when you see a similar pattern, you can also say this was the root cause. Like, are you guys thinking about something like this? Like Steven, you mentioned anomaly detection.
Oh my goodness, that would be so useful because we do publish charts that show anomalies in usage of the platform, and just the ability to integrate feedback loops into that would be really powerful.
Awesome. How about you, Michael? Do you have use cases where you would want humans to enter why this anomaly occurred? Like, what's the...
Certainly. Yeah, we sort of need to do that now with our clients providing us feedback. But when you look at fraud, right, there's so many different fraud vectors, and
Mhm.
each one has different patterns, right, that you're looking for, whether it's, bot detection or account takeover. There's so many different scams and stuff. So being able to identify what this anomaly is, what scam it's related to, so that you're able to identify a similar scam going on in the future.
Very cool. Damon, do you have any use cases where you would want a human to go and tag certain things or add additional context based on the output of the AI models?
Yeah, I mean, most parts of our platform, to be honest, is it enables the human to understand the recommendations from the
I
AI
see.
model, but actually implement their own version of the truth. Because essentially, especially in retail, it's very commercially minded, and everything has to be aligned with commercials that the business are driving towards. And sometimes the model doesn't fit the reality, and they need to be able to go in there and tweak that and provide more human context. It's interesting you talk about anomaly detection. I think a similar comparison with some of the stuff that we do with our customers around performance drivers. So
Hmm.
we actually use Sigma to enable our customers to view BI and understand top level business performance, and then start to diagnose the actual drivers of that performance. And I think things like conversational BI will only make that easier and much quicker to get to that core diagnostic of why business is performing in that certain way. And there's so many different elements that can drive performance if you can get to that answer really quickly, especially those kind of senior level people within retailers. It makes life easier.
Definitely. Just a quick note for our audience members. If you have any questions for our panelists, please put them in the chat. We will have an audience Q&A section at the end of the fireside chat. All right, back to some questions. So we'll start with you, Michael, this time. So what's next for your company? with AI, with Sigma, with the data, and what are you guys planning?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our focus lately has been around the generative AI space. There's lots of opportunities there, but like building out chatbots. Recently, we've done that. SQL generators, for anomaly detection as well, and just being able to take in a bunch of documentation and provide information to customers in a clear, concise format.
Right.
So yeah, certainly love to keep building upon that and gaining more competitive edge through it.
Awesome. Damon, how about you?
Yeah, so I mentioned some of the stuff that we're already looking into with Gen AI. I guess it's quite exciting times really from where we are as a business right now. We've been working hard on the software product over the last year or so to get it to this point. And we're starting to see some real traction with some great retailers and brands actually becoming customers of ours. We're right at the start of our scale up journey, I'd say, probably really early stage of that as a business, and we've got lots of exciting things on the roadmap, both from a product and general organization point of view. So next year or so is exciting times really, with lots of new things to come.
Awesome. And Steven, how about Astronomer?
I've mentioned a few times now, we use this level of observability that we have to see how people are building applications of generative AI with an orchestration platform at the heart of it, like Airflow. And we see a lot of different use cases, a lot of different solutions and technologies being built, but some common best practices and some common challenges, monitoring the quality of models that are highly non-deterministic is really challenging. Monitoring the costs associated with building these applications. So what we really want to do is, of course, continue to build out product features and so on, but also build out reference implementations, use what we've learned by observing the community and say, look, here are best practices around some of these challenges. Here are sample DAGs, sample pipelines that you can use to get started. That's a real focus for my team, to allow people to get started quickly.
That's great to hear. And one last question before we open it up to the audience. What are you looking forward to seeing in Sigma? And Damon, we'll start with you on this one.
So I know Sigma is starting to launch their own AI innovations, as you've mentioned already on here, and I guess I'm excited to see what's coming up. So I think Copilot sounds really interesting. It will definitely help our developers use Sigma in a much more efficient way. And I'm also excited to see Sigma's version of kind of search query and conversational BI, whatever you want to call it, within the front end for users. Again, I'm a big believer of not trying to reinvent the wheel. So if a much bigger and better company than ours can build something that we can utilize, then I'm always interested to see it.
Yeah, we have a lot of investments coming up in data applications, which is how do we help you build an entire application? Just go beyond BI and into the build of entire application for you. So we'll partner together on that one.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Steven, how about you?
Well, definitely, I've enjoyed watching the team, and I mean the larger team, not just our core data science team, but all of the data analysts around the company, working together around building dashboards and applications within Sigma. And so love the collaboration capabilities, seen that grow right from the beginning. Would love to see that just continue to mature and allowing lots of teams and lots of users collaborate easily together. Someone told me that there's going to be Python in Sigma. I'm very excited about that. That's going to be great.
Yes.
That does sound exciting.
Yeah. And Michael, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just have to echo pretty much what Damon and Steven were saying. I mean, Python definitely would be great. I think, as a developer, right, software developers, we go into, Chat GPT nowadays or Claude AI and say, hey, give me some code to, to do this particular function. Being able to do that within Sigma and say, hey, build me a chart that shows me this, and rather than doing all the configuration myself. It's speedy as it is, but it'll make us move even faster.
Yeah. On just that note, Has any of you interacted with our support team and would like to say anything about them? The customer support team. Michael, do you want to?
Yeah, I have recently, and it was actually around that project where we were able to generate $120,000 in
Oh, wow.
cost savings. So the support team was great help in and helping me to really kind of dive down into the costs of our queries and being able to see what queries were supporting which portions of our dashboards and which widgets in our dashboards. So yeah, I got some great help there, and I wouldn't have been able to identify that cost savings without it.
That is a great recommendation for our support team. Damon, Stephen, any?
Yeah, no, I echo that the support team have been an awesome help to us, even helping us to diagnose problems that aren't in Sigma and more in Snowflake. So, we're in a different time zone. We're based in the UK, and you guys are always more than helpful when I get in touch, no matter what the time it is.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the support and to the customer success teams. As we started embedding dashboards as well into our application, it was essentially a process of taking what my data science team had built for themselves to monitor their own usage of Airflow and just sharing that with our customers. And it was so easy to get done, just completely rapid turnaround and the ability to introduce new features into the platform almost daily
Wow.
that our customers can take advantage of. It's been great.
Awesome. That is great to hear. Yeah, our support team is always, we have a CSAT of like 4.8 or 4.9 at this point. So pretty impressed by the support team. Those are all the questions I had. We're going to open it up to the audience and let's see if you have any questions come in. All right, I see one question here. And any of you can kind of feel free to take this one. Where do you see the industry in 5, 10, 15 years from now? Stephen, do you want to take our team?
I certainly think we've been talking about generative AI, and I think when it comes to analytics, business intelligence, and machine learning, it's very clear that there's just a complete transformation, both at a super practical level, just being able to use code gen for writing your SQL statements, being able to analyze data by feeding that into ChatGPT and coming up with initial conclusions. So that on that sort of pragmatic day-to-day level, but then obviously the promise of being able to really speed up the process of developing data-driven applications and being able to use off-the-shelf models that are incredibly powerful. It's still early days that I think we're all struggling to really get the most out of generative AI and do that in a way that's well managed and cost controlled and quality controlled. But given that we're really only a year or two into using these things, it's utterly impossible to predict what will happen in 5, let alone 10, 15 years.
Yeah. No, I think I'm probably still a tiny little bit skeptical of how a lot of companies are claiming to use Gen AI right now. There seems to be a bit of a mad dash by a lot of companies to shout about how they're using AI in their product, when in reality, it's not actually that useful or impactful just yet. It's just a fancy new tool. The big word though for me is accuracy. I think in the next few years, these things are only going to get more and more accurate and smarter with the way they do things. And I think that's when it starts to be transformational for businesses, especially in the industries that I work in retail and brands. They need to be able to live or die by what these models are telling them, and they're big commercial decisions. And I think until that trust's there, I think there's still an element to go there before things will start to transform the industries. But I think it's definitely going to happen.
Definitely, Michael.
Yeah, and I would just have to throw in there the regulatory aspect of it. I mean, as a global company, right, you're dealing with regulations across, multiple countries, and, even if you just look at data privacy standards now, right, and Sigma's helped us because we're able to segregate, our US versus our EU data and not have to create duplicative dashboards for that. We're able to easily, swap, based off of embedded dashboards where our user is logging in. They're able to see the data related to their region.
Right.
And with generative AI, we're going to have the same situation with the regulations just being different between countries and being able to support that.
Definitely. And Damon, you brought up a very interesting point where there are a lot of products out there in the market which claim to have AI, but really it's just a long if else statement. And so I think we need to figure out a way to identify like the real AI companies versus not. And like what I've seen is each product will have a lot of insight, and there's ways to use that insight to remove the friction from the product, right? So the companies who are able to successfully use AI to be able to do that will succeed, and the others who just claim that they have AI without actual problems being solved or frictions being removed will probably fizzle out in the next 5-10 years, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's a lot of businesses are still trying to understand how AI can really
Right.
transform the way that they work, not only with the products that they're taking to market, but also how they can make their own workforce more efficient.
Hmm.
I think we're still at that kind of learning curve in terms of what we can do with it. But yeah, like I say, I think as things get more accurate and obviously faster, it'll be completely transformational. The key thing is for me is to automate the processes that take time at the minute.
Yep.
Like allow AI to automate those, allow them to just keep learning, keep training, and just create that automation for machine learning and AI, and allow the humans to do the more contextual
Right.
thinking. Still, I don't think Gen AI is quite there yet. Probably will be at some point in the future, but there's still a major role for human decision making to play, and I think it's that kind of coexisting that's the key really over the next few years.
I agree.
It's all. It's also just riffing on that a little bit. It's also about when you can capture institutional knowledge
Right.
that's that's in your proprietary data, or that's in the heads of your employees, and hopefully then transferred into proprietary data that you can then feed into the models. So I think the trick to being successful with generative AI, as far as I've seen so far, is when you can capture all of that institutional knowledge in those proprietary data sets and feed that into the models, because then you're really building something that's differentiated and is not just a wrapper around some external service.
Yeah, no, it's a great shout, Stephen. And I think that's a real key point, that you have to provide the context and you have to have the industry knowledge and expertise and the use case expertise for it to actually be really useful. And yeah, really key point.
Definitely. We have one more question here. It's from Wes. Any thoughts on whether generative AI will drive new hardware as it develops? We are seeing new wearables like pins and rings. Is there hardware that could be developed to better utilize generative AI in addition to its advances in software?
I guess I would just have to say I'm not a hardware guy so much, but obviously, one of the challenges that we have right now is the time that it takes to train these models and the time it takes to serve. And in a real-time environment, we're going to have to get faster and faster. And so certainly from a processing standpoint, I think we're seeing a big upswing in the speed of processing time as we develop new hardware. We'll see that grow quickly.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, Damon, Stephen, on this one?
I would just say,
Sorry.
in terms of the hardware, I'm not an expert on this as well, but I do worry a little bit just the amount of compute that we're throwing at these things and the literal heat that is generating. If we could hear these processes whirring as they train and then apply all these models, we'd probably find it sort of terrifying. So again, it's about cost reduction in every sense of the word cost, that I think there's lots of innovation that can still happen.
Yeah, and I think again, bringing it to the world of retail, I think bringing kind of machine learning and AI into hardware and kind of thinking about a shopping scenario onto screens within stores and enhancing that kind of shopping experience and point of sale advertising or whatever that might be.
Mm-hmm.
I think bringing things like Gen AI into that into that space on hardware is quite tough at the minute, just because of the whole memory kind of needed to be able to run them. But I think potentially that might be a thing in the future where the cost might be reduced of maybe trading these things on a GPU might come down in cost, and being able to run them on the edge, I think again could be transformational.
Awesome. Well, those were all the questions from our audiences. Again, thank you so much, Michael, Damon, Stephen, for joining this panel. It was very exciting for me to talk to you all three, and I learned a lot. So thanks once again.